you ever had something in your past that has hurt you and that has brought you to a place where you've had to just fall on your knees in emotional pain, in your heart hurting for what has happened to you, and God has allowed this thing in your life to pass? And once it's passed, you've gotten to a place of rest and of calm and of being out of that terrible, hurtful situation. And then it seems as though that hurtful situation is coming back. Maybe it comes back to haunt you in different ways. Maybe it's lies from the enemy that keeps coming up. Maybe it's a friend that sticks around that reminds you of things in your past, or maybe it's other things like that. But this past thing keeps coming up. You're thinking to yourself, I'm done with it. Literally done with it. Because I've felt that so many times. And so we're going to see how the Israelites felt the same way here in the book of Exodus. So go ahead and turn your Bibles to Exodus. So we're going to see how the Israelites felt the exact same way. And we're going to turn to Exodus 14. We're going to start in verse 10. And I'm going to give you a little bit of background while you turn there. So Exodus 14:10. And what's happening here is the Israelites had just become free from Pharaoh, and they're walking over into the Promised Land. And as they're walking and going on this really, really long journey, they come to this place called the Red Sea, and they camp out. They camp out and get their tents out and everything like that. And they're ready. They are at peace. They are away from these Egyptians. They are away from Egypt, where they had felt so much hurt and felt so much slavery, and whether it be emotional, physical, and spiritual oppression and hurt that they felt there in Egypt. And now they're in this place of serenity, this place of calmness, this place where God has led them to. And as they're camped out there, they look behind them, and the Egyptians are headed straight towards them. So, like, I don't know about you, but I would be freaking out. The Egyptians are headed straight towards them. They're like, God, you literally just saved us from the Egyptians. Why are you allowing these Egyptians, these evil people that have kept us in slavery for so long, why are you allowing them to come back and to haunt us, per se, as they're doing right now? Why are you allowing that? I could only imagine, because that's what I would be thinking, and I'm for sure that's what you would be thinking as well. So they're looking at these Egyptians, this picture of their past that's coming up to them, and they're saying, what in the world is going on, Lord? How can we trust you anymore? It might as well just go ahead and be that you just let us have the Egyptians as the people we're enslaved to again. Might as well go back to Egypt, back to our past, and give in to that. And so here they are in Exodus 14:10, and they're terrified. So let's go ahead and read this. It says, as Pharaoh, so Pharaoh and his crew, his Egyptian crew, are heading up. It says, as Pharaoh approached, the Israelites looked up, and there were the Egyptians marching after them. They were terrified and cried out to the Lord. They said to Moses was in charge here. So they said to Moses, was it because there were no graves in Egypt that you brought us to the desert to die? What have you done to us by bringing us out of Egypt? Didn't we say to you in Egypt, leave us alone? Let us serve the Egyptians. It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the desert. And so Moses' answer to the people is one of the most, I think, heart-wrenching things that I have ever read. Something that has hit me so hard that I was like, man, God, you're about to do something in my heart. And so we get up to this point, and the Egyptians are like, didn't we just tell you to leave us alone in Egypt? We were going to die in Egypt anyways. Now you brought us out here, and we're going to die still from the Egyptians. So why did you even make us walk this far if the Egyptians were just going to be here and kill us anyways? We might as well just die in Egypt. And Moses answers with something so wise and so from the Lord. And he says this, Moses answered the people, do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. That's insane. So we see here that that Moses, the leader of the Israelites right now, Moses is clearly speaking words from the Lord, because he was walking with the Lord. And the first thing he says is he understands that they're in emotional distress because of this past thing that's now impending upon them, that is now coming upon them, called the Egyptians. They're now coming after them. And Moses realized that there's this emotional pain. And he sits there and he stands there and he says, do not be afraid. So he touches that emotional part of them. And then he says, stand firm. He says, and you, by standing firm, will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. He is saying to them, hey, keep the faith, be strong, be courageous, be bold, and be trusting in a God who will give you deliverance. And so we read in the next sentence, in that same sentence, it says, the Lord will bring you deliverance today. It's an immediate thing now that this is going to happen, he's saying. It says, the Egyptians you see today, you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you, and you don't need to be still. So he says, the Egyptians you see today, the past that is coming up and keep coming back up to you, you're never going to see that again. And Moses is calling them to have faith in a God who's trustworthy, who is worthy of our full trust, saying, God, okay, I get it. I get that you are worth my trust. And he's saying, this is what us as the Israelites and me as Moses are supposed to be saying to God, is that I know that you are worthy of trust. That this hurt is coming back up, that these Egyptians are coming back to us. But I know that you're trustworthy, and I know that you're going to bring deliverance today. That you are going to bring deliverance in your timing from these things that hold me back, from these lies that hold you back from the past, from these things that have hurt you in the past that keep coming up, that the enemy keeps bringing up. Moses is telling the people, hey, this past, God is going to bring you deliverance from. It's going to happen in confidence. He said, that past, the Egyptians that you see today, you're never going to see them again. He said, the Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. And so I think back on my childhood and the things that have happened, and even in the past few years, so many things have happened, whether it be things from my parents' divorce, things that have hurt me, things that were said, times where I felt like I had to be the peacemaker, where I felt like I had to be in the middle, and the Lord fought for me. He fought for me in every single one of those times, and he brought deliverance from that and victory in so many areas where I thought I was never going to get out of. I thought I was never going to get out of my people-pleasing flesh, where I thought I had to make everybody happy. I thought I had to make everybody happy, and God brought victory out of it. But there are times in my life where lies will come back up, where my flesh will come back up to say, those people are the ones that you need to be putting your trust in. Those people are the ones that you need to be gaining acceptance from, so you probably should change your actions so that you can please them. You probably should put on a mask every single day, someone who you're not, to show them that we can be friends and to gain acceptance from them. And there are lies that continue to come up. Just like these Egyptians came back up and were going to fight these Israelites. These lies from my past continue to come up. And it's a choice for me to say, I believe that the Lord will bring deliverance today. I believe that the Lord is trustworthy and that he is enough for me and that he will fight for me. The Lord will fight for you. The only thing he calls us to do is to be still and to be open. He says, the Lord will fight for you. Moses says, the Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. And so what does that look like? That looks like sitting, being still and saying, Lord, these are the lies. This is the thing that's coming back up over and over and over again, just like the Israelites with the Egyptians. These are the things that keep coming up over and over and over again, the lies that I keep believing, the hurt that keeps coming up from my past. But I believe in confidence because we can pray to our God in confidence. I believe in confidence that you will set me free from these lies, that you will bring victory from the things that have held me so tight in my past, that you will bring victory for it now, that you will bring deliverance now, and that you will fight for me, and that all I need to do is sit here in silence, crying out to you and being still, and that you will bring deliverance. And so my one question for you today is, what is it that's holding you back from God's deliverance? What is it that's holding you captive? What are the chains from your past, me being my people-pleasing flesh, that's holding on to me, making me not want to be myself, but to be someone that everyone else wants me to be? What is that for you that the enemy continues to bring up in your life? What is that for you? And whenever you figure out what that is for you, it's time to be still. It's time to journal those things. It's time to say, Lord, I'm here. I'm here, and I want you to move. And I want you to bring victory in this. So I'm being still, in great expectance of you fighting for me.